Let's talk about today's live stream. So I'm Richard Carlin, creator of FM Train TV. Today is we're going to be talking about MonkeyBread with Christian Schmitz. Christian is here. Let's talk about the MonkeyBread plugin real quick. And I am not getting any money from this at all, but I want to tell you what happened with MonkeyBread. It's something that happened yesterday. So MonkeyBread. So let's talk about this real quick. So it came up in the live stream yesterday, and this is like good information for you. We will have another live stream on another killer, what I consider a killer application within the FileMaker platform. So there's things that you do in FileMaker, like you can print a PDF and email it. That, when it came out, was a killer capability. Everyone needed that. Everyone used it, right? If someone says, I want to take a scan of my teeth and then find the cavities and circle them with a graphic. That's not what we call horizontal, where everyone needs it. Only the 12 people or the 50 people that are dental businesses need that, in their software. It's very vertical market versus horizontal. I like to focus on horizontal because as I bring it to you, most of you will need this. So here was the application from yesterday, and I'm going to recap for those of you who missed it. So you have service personnel out in the field doing service. Ed Burkle is doing an inspection on a Chinese all-you-can-eat buffet. And the problem is, in the back of the Chinese all-you-eat buffet, there is a line of roaches and bugs and nastiness that's going along in the back storage room, and all those roaches are playing with matches on top of it. So they're flammable and they're not safety oriented, and they could cause a fire, because obviously all forest fires are caused by animals that play with matches, right? And so you always have to watch out for that. So what ends up happening is that we said, well, we want Ed Burkle to be on his phone, and he says, okay, this is Ed. I'm at 135 Washington Boulevard. This is the Wasami all-you-can-eat Chinese buffet. We've got roaches with Bic lighters in the back. That's a violation of Rule 41.3. Then there's people up front who are smoking with cans of gasoline, violation of Rule 42.5, B, paragraph 3. And I need this added to their inspection. Click. He records as an audio file. It is in FileMaker. It goes to a third-party service. The third-party service translates it correctly, 1. 2, then it parses it. It finds out that Ed Burkle did it. It found out the address of the place it was at, right? And then it finds 2 violations in there. It comes back to FileMaker and populates those records in a database. I would say half of the FileMaker installations of the world could use something like that. That's a really big horizontal thing. All field service love that, right? They don't want to have to type on the keyboard. It's like how do you spell buffet? B-U-F-F-F-F-F, whatever. I mean, instead of verbalizing it, like there's a mechanic at Big Valley. I love these guys. One of them can't spell at all. But if he verbalized it and then it went through this process, so there's the use case. There's the use case. We have it working. It should work by itself in FileMaker Pro, where you take FileMaker, it does a REST call with some curl options. Curl options, the little hidden options in the URL, and it goes to the service. It sends a file, then back comes the parsed text, right? The text, and then parsed into different fields through JSON. So we can put it right in the FileMaker, okay? We could, after 4 days of paying a senior engineer, we could not get it to work. Okay, there's some sort of funkiness with FileMaker. I've already reported to Claris. So the engineer was so desperate, he goes to OpenAI and finds their programming chat conversation. He says, God, I'm so stuck and Richard's mad at me. What should I do? And the AI came back with 2 things. It said, go buy the 360works blah, blah, blah plugin, or go download and use the MonkeyBread plugin. The AI said that. And so he goes, well, MonkeyBread, Richard already uses it. He loves it. He brings it in, clicks it, and readapts the URL to go the same curl and insert URL commands in MonkeyBread. It works the first time without all the bugs. He was so happy. And so what I'm here to tell all of you is that odds are is that you're going to need the MonkeyBread plugin. it might be easier to implement things in a MonkeyBread. Certainly, the sample files that Christian Schmidt has provided will help you get over the hurdle with this. I am sure at the end of the day, there'll be a live stream about this. We'll give this away. And if Christian Schmidt is brilliant, which he is, he'll probably turn it into another random little sample file that's in his samples. That being said, at RCC, we've started upgrading to 14.3. Right? We started to do that. And so this is where I tell you that, yes, you should have it. Yes, it's inexpensive. And welcome, Christian. And I've just sold a bunch of your product for you, hopefully. But I love it because anytime that FileMaker chokes and then you come writing, it's like in a game. You're surrounded by the bad guys. You're about to die. And then you hear this voice. Roger, reinforcements have arrived. Right? And that's Christian Schmidt parachuting out of the sky with his machine gun to help you. So, Christian Schmidt, go.
Well, thank you very much.
How's that for an opener?
Yeah, excellent.
This is Christian Schmidt. It's his fault that the product is so good.
Yeah. Did you know that we are celebrating the 18th birthday next month?
Of your monkey?
Yeah.
Ah, okay.
Oh, we should have a special.
We should have a special discount.
Well, I was going to say special stream for that. I don't know if we have that space in our schedule.
Okay. There's a special something. It's a special discount. Although, listen, you really shouldn't ask for a discount. This stuff is so cheap anyway. It's stupid cheap. It's like $1.15, $1.15 per user per month or something like that. I don't know anything that cheap. You can't even get like a Starbucks or something for that cheap.
So today, let's talk about the latest version of the MBS plugin, version 14.3. I just heard that people are actually installing it. So let's check what's inside. I got here the announcement and the blog. So in the plugin, we have now 7,400 functions. And we are adding new functionality because people are constantly asking for new features. So if you have anything you need, please check with the plugin. Maybe it's there already. Otherwise, we may just add it for you. And one user asked for Python. So you may be familiar that there is a programming language called Python, and you may want to use it in FileMaker. And so you are looking for a way to integrate it. And you can, of course, use our shell functions to just run your Python script, but you can also go and use it directly in FileMaker. Let's see, we have an example database. The example database will load Python. Let's see here on the bottom.
I am not a Python person,
yeah,
right? But some of you might be Python people.
Yeah, it's just if you're, so we have integrations for various things. Like sometimes people come and say, I have a snippet of JavaScript code, of what else could we have? Of AppleScript code. I want to run it in the FileMaker solution to do something, and I don't want to run it outside FileMaker. I want it to run inside FileMaker. And with Python, you may have some calculation to calculate maybe a checksum or do some math operation or some JSON processing, whatever you like. And you can do it right in FileMaker. Like here we have an example. That's my button. Oh, yeah. Evaluate. There it is. There's a button. So 1 + 2 is 3. How did we do that? So the first thing is you need to get Python installed somehow. You may use a Python installer from their website. You may use a package manager on Linux. You may use Homebrew as a package manager on Mac to install Python, or you may just have, let's say, a folder where Python is inside, and you just point the plugin to the Python library in the folder. The plugin doesn't care which version it is exactly, because we can work with several Python versions already, and you can install it wherever you like it. It's just a folder with some files, and as long as Python finds its files, it should just work. So we can load the library, and then we can, for example, ask for the version number. And now we like to evaluate something. So we make a new Python environment, and this Python environment stores all the global variables, all the functions you loaded, all the models you imported, So you can have several Python environments with different setups, if you like. Then you can just call Python evaluate, pass any Python code, the plugin will run it, will capture all the output it prints, and give you back the result of the calculation. And when you're done, you can release the environment. Or you can just keep one open all the time.
Okay, so the release is what releases that out of memory. So it releases the RAM memory, right? Yes.
Yeah, we have always this new or create functions, and then we have release functions. And about every month, someone calls me and tells me that their server maybe has all the RAM full. They ask if I could help, and then we discover that they maybe created 1,000 DynaPDF environments and maybe
Right.
loaded
So
10,000 pictures into memory. You know, things happen.
right. Yeah, so let me back this up just for some of the people who are newer or less maybe technically skilled. And I probably mentioned this before, but I haven't done it in 6 months, so let me do it here real quick. In the world of like regular programming in quotes, you have to do some level of memory management, which means that you know, if you're going to use some RAM memory, then I know this sounds weird for some of you. You're like, you're doing what? If you put a photograph in memory, like you say, load it up and stick it in memory, and it's in the RAM memory because you're showing it on screen. Say like you're a FileMaker developer. No. The programming people at Claris, you actually make the FileMaker application. They have to manage the memory, right? They do something, then they release the memory. They do something, it takes memory, then they release it. FileMaker, one of the reasons why it's so great, at our level, as a developer level, it abstracts us from that level of being down in the weeds, okay? However, the MonkeyBread plugin is a whole level more advanced and more capable, and as a result, back to that phrase from the Spider-Man and all that stuff, it's with great power comes great responsibility. I think it was Spider-Man, right? With great responsibility. And so MonkeyBread has a tremendous amount more power, but you have to be aware that that has responsibility. And one of the things is to make sure that when you're done with whatever process, you release the memory, right? Whatever it is. And that's what he's saying. People don't do it. Their server gets slow, blows up. And it's just because they don't come from a programming background. They come from a FileMaker background where FileMaker handles the memory for you automatically. It just does it. Anyway.
So as a plugin developer, I don't know when you are done with Python. So you may just create an environment when solution starts. Maybe you never release it. You just keep it in a global variable, so you can use it everywhere.
Okay.
Or maybe you just create one, do your calculations, and then release it.
Yeah, if it's small, you create it, right? Then you could, and it wasn't a big deal. You could have one that ran all the time. That's fine. You don't have to release it, but he just mentioned DynaPDF. You do one PDF, you do another PDF, you do another PDF, and it's each one has this little block of memory, right? And if they loop, right, then you get into a situation where you run out of RAM, and then the computer goes slow or it crashes or something bad happens. What we would consider bad. So
just match every new with a release and read the documentation.
Perfect. Read the documentation. Yeah, right. These are a bunch of Margaret's in there laughing.
So there are a few special things here. There's an input function in Python, which usually would take text from the terminal if you run it in the terminal. But since your script may call input function, we can preload it with some text. So if you call input, you get back the text you pass here. Then we allow you to install an evaluate function, which you can name whatever you like, and the execute SQL function. So you can actually call back to FileMaker to do FileMaker calculations, like query the value of a field, or you can use SQL to run a SQL command. So let's go through a few examples. So Python has some indentation. So this is an if block, and the lines here below the if belong to the if because they are indented. So we can just run this, and it will output x is 1. And if you put the print command in the front, it would output even if x is not 1, or in this case,
Okay,
it
so I have a
even
question
reports an
here.
error.
I guess this is a Python question, dumb, but that indenting there, it's not just visual for us. That actually means something
Yeah,
programmatically.
yeah, it means something, and so this is after the if block. So there is no end if.
Margaret, you notice that he said there's no indef, right?
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
Python is a different language, but if you can read this, then more or less you can understand. I mean, once you really understand programming, then you have to learn the syntax and little subtleties, but you know.
Usually, I would expect a FileMaker developer gets a job to, here's some Python script, put it in your FileMaker solution. And then you have to decide whether you use the shell functions or the Python functions. And with the shell functions, it's running externally, and with the Python function, it's running internally. So let's see. So we can call to FileMaker fm evaluate, and here get account name. So your Python script can ask what's the name of the account.
Okay.
You can also query field names. Like, let me just write here, Python code. So you see, this references the top field. And so Python can ask for field values by just passing the field name to the evaluate function. Or run an SQL execute command.
Yeah, some people are SQL folks.
Yeah, well,
Mikey, Labo, you SQL people? Who's SQL people here, right?
Yeah. So the idea is you may have a Python script which needs to process a lot of data from your FileMaker database. So a SQL command would be a convenient way to get a lot of data into Python. Another way would be to use a global variable in Python, which you would set from FileMaker. So you can pass a big JSON block, for example, or big XML. So here we have a little script defining a function. This defines a function in Python with a return statement, and this can run just fine. Then here we have some mass, and this actually imports a model. So in Python, you can have a lot of extensions like models to do all different kinds of things. And you can just reference them in a script, and then your Python environment has a folder for that, for the modules, and it will just load it.
Okay, back up. So math is the name of the model. Is that what you're saying? Okay. You don't put it in quotes or something? I mean, it seems to me it's...
No, just import math.
Okay.
And then you can call functions here by specifying either the model name
and then
and the function name, or this is a function registered globally in the model, so you can just call it without the name.
Okay.
It's just some Python thing. You can also just type something and you get errors. The plugin captures the error output and gives it to you here in the print output. But you can also use the print command to just output debug messages and catch them with the plugin. And another test script to do some math. And here one with random numbers. So
yeah, Python's one of those things in life. I'm looking over at Mike and Labo, and they're putting some comments in. If I could live to 200 years old, then Python would have been one of those things I would have learned along the way if I had the time. So
yeah, so it's not very difficult as a language, and yeah, we can.
That's why it's so popular.
Yeah, I think it's fairly easy to learn.
Okay.
And,
is it easier or harder than JavaScript?
Oh, that's a good question.
I don't know. I don't know really either one of them, so that's why I'm asking the question.
Well,
if I had to learn one, I would learn what JavaScript.
Let's say
Python.
Things like brackets and semicolons can drive you crazy in JavaScript. And here the intention could drive you crazy. Here we use the evaluate function to ask for the primary key of the current record we are viewing. And then we use that as a parameter in our SQL query. So we can ask for the current record seen by the user in the Python script and get it back here as a JSON.
Okay.
Basically, this is not really a JSON. This is a serialized array because you get arrays in Python, so you can directly process them. Yeah. Oh yeah, and
This
here's
is
the
good. So
input command.
back up. You didn't have Python in here before 14.3?
Yep. We always use the shell functions to just call it.
Okay, I misunderstood what you said. So Python. So what's different about the version of MonkeyBread plugin 14.3? It supports more Python or just
It got the Python functions.
okay.
And this allows you to run Python within FileMaker.
Okay. So
So
before
you
14.3, how would we run Python and FileMaker?
you
We
would
just couldn't
use shell functions to run a command line tool, Python.
from the operating system.
Yeah, it would run in a different process
Yes.
in the background.
Uh-huh.
And there would be no direct connection to FileMaker because you would just tell it to run a file, and then you would catch the output with the plugin and do something. And here you can do direct things like, let's say here for the run script, I can just here add a line to say set value. And I can define a global value here and say x is now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And when I run a script now, I'm to have a script. Let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's see if it works. Yeah. So I can set the global variable directly in FileMaker for the script in Python. And that's an integration you only get if you run it directly in the process.
All right.
It's one of the features we have, and if there are no questions, let's go to the next one.
It's that we're just talking about Python and its place in the world. I'm actually surprised you didn't have it supported before 14.3. So, because people they've talked about Python on and off. I always meet certain people like, oh, I'm going to do this in Python. They've been talking about that for like 20 years, more than 20 years. Python's been around a long time.
Yeah. Let's go to something else.
Okay. What else we have?
My announcement. So let's see. We got for call functions, we got MQTT functionality.
Okay,
So
I don't
you
know.
know,
Backup. What is that?
this is an open standard for message queues. So you may have a server and you may have a lot of clients sending messages to the central server, which then distributes it to everyone listening. And people use that for all kinds of things, for notifications, for example. So your company may, get a new order, and you may want to tell someone that the order is there. So you send a message to everyone, and then you can have 10 different computers listening to it. So I got people interested in this, so they asked it for home automation. So let me try our example file. So we subscribe. Oh, wait. Yeah, I have to allow it. And then we send something, and now if someone else on the live stream would open the same example file, they could send a message here. Or just, what could I do? I could launch a different copy of FileMaker. Let's take an older one here. Make a copy of the file. Lower 2, send. No, I have to put it there. Send. No, it says lower 2. So this is a way to use a MQTT server. You have to distribute messages to listening computers.
Okay. I'm
Yeah.
sending a question to Jacob Taylor. Okay, yeah. Okay, so I asked him because Jacob Taylor is our server guy, and he does a lot of side project stuff. He's working on a team that does a product called Matrix. He says MQTT is a messaging system pass-through. You can use it to wire things together with a lot of glue parentheses. If you go to mqtt.org, I'm just reading this out loud for everyone.
Mhm.
The standard for Internet of Things messaging, a lightweight messaging protocol for small sensors, mobile devices optimized for high latency or unreliable networks, enabling a connected world of Internet of Things. So high latency or unreliable networks. Yeah, those two words go together. So you have it's dumb. You have a coffee maker in your kitchen, and it runs out of coffee, so it sends you a message saying, "Hey, make me more coffee." But the Wi-Fi in the kitchen might be or the coffee maker might suck, and so the message is slow, or it has to be repeated 5 times because the wireless sucks. So it's a very robust messaging system to support Internet of Things. Right? Does that make sense? Okay, so. Yeah.
Okay, so if I
Yeah.
open the sample file right now and I could send a message and you'd get it even though the files are not hosted on the server at all.
Well, it doesn't say no network, Margaret. It just says unreliable network or high latency. High latency is like 300 or 400 milliseconds or something like that, or more.
Yeah, think about maybe a sensor somewhere that sends a new temperature every 10 seconds, and you can just listen to it.
Got it.
So, Margaret, do you want to send something? Maybe we get it?
I was going to try to, but I'm trying. I'm having I forget where your sample files are. Where do you keep them?
Well, that's you download the plugin, and then there's an example folder and a
But Margaret,
call
why don't you
folder.
go do this? Yeah.
I'm trying to go do that,
There's an
yes.
MQTT file. Okay, maybe talk about the next thing. Where
Yeah, let's do the next thing.
so another thing is, did you remember the overlay windows we had?
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yes. In fact, you had it driving around the screen, right? At one point, it was
yeah,
kind of. Yeah.
so
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there was a request by a user to make it a drag and drop target. So you could drop files on it.
Oh.
So, and I added that.
Oh. Keep going. Well, wait a
Let
minute.
me see. Let me close. Let me just build this live here. I mean,
Build it live. Okay.
okay, we see here, create set frame, set image. This creates our overlay.
Okay.
And here's script lines to create the top area, and we just combine that. So instead of attaching to the window, we attach to the overlay. And I think this is just $overlay, yeah.
So that's the overlay it's a name or UUID or something. Okay.
Yeah, it's an ID you get from the plugin, so you can identify the overlay because you can have a ton of overlays.
Yeah, I'm sure.
So put it in a global, set file, a drag action. Now this is not get file name because it's a different file. So what's the file name of our file is drag test. So let me copy that in. So the container, we don't need that. So I just tell it to attach to the overlay. I tell it what things I like to get, like files. I tell which script to trigger. The cursor is the one with the plus.
All right, hang on. Just run it.
Yeah, just run it.
Okay,
Let's get a picture and see. Yeah,
Okay.
far away.
Okay. Yeah, the level of awesomeness okay. So I have to apologize to everyone today on the live stream, okay, for what's just happened. This exceeds the maximum allowable of awesome on a Friday live stream. Normally we reserve these for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday, where awesomeness is encouraged. Fridays, half the people have been drinking, right? So
we got the overlay, and a user thought about, I could make this a little, well, whatever. You could give it a nice icon, like drop here, and then user could
okay,
put
so
away
the
FileMaker
demo
window.
here. Okay, back up. The demo file here with the target, dropping it into a container. That needs to be a sample you have in your magical samples. Because I don't need this today, but probably in a week or two, someone here in the live stream is going to need this. And I know that you just built this, so can we save it as like amazing?
Yeah, I can just add it as an
Anyone have a
example
comment
here.
about this? Or am I the only one that thinks it's awesome?
Okay, I just combined two example files basically. And so if any one of your clients needs a fancy little window somewhere on the screen where they can drag files on, or maybe just drop attachments out of Outlook on Windows, directly on the icon. And
Works in Windows too?
yeah, sure. Works on Windows.
Hey, Margaret, is this a BVA thing? Because they have to drag and drop pictures in there.
They might prefer that, honestly, because trying to like do the little pop-up window where you upload the photos, where instead of you can this where you just like, what happens if you drag like a collection on at the same time? Did we see that?
Yeah, what if you drag like 5 photos on there? Okay, this definitely exceeded the amount of awesome on Friday. No one told me this show was going to be this good today. This is not acceptable.
Okay.
The idea of a web viewer overlay is still possible, Labo says.
Yeah, I'm working on it.
He's working on it.
Yeah,
it's not yet
Labo would ask for
working.
something he's so demanding that we can't actually have it. Listen, if you build FileMaker religiously, you can see where you needed this previously, or you will need this in the future. Almost guaranteed. Almost guaranteed.
We should definitely do this for BVA because this is so much smoother than.
Well, but it has to be able to go into a specific project, right? So you'd have to go to a project and say, load some So you'd go to BVA and load. Okay, so hang on. Let me drive for a second. Let me stop. You're sharing. I'm taking over. Assuming command. I'm assuming command of the screen. So this is what would have to happen in a use case, right? So we're in FileMaker. We're in Big Valley. All right. Oh, wants me to upgrade. Okay, I'm not going to upgrade right now. I'll do it later. That's one thing. Make sure your database you can do a install so it pushes it out to everyone as they open the file. They'd have to be in a work order, Christian, right? So then you're like, say that we're working on Brent Alger's helicopter. I talked to this guy the other day on the phone. And we're working on his discrepancies, and we want to, like this one has some photos attached to it. We'd say, well, we have pictures of this problem over here. We would want to push a button on this work order, so we would allow it to drag and drop photos into this work order. So it would know that, okay, we'd have to put a graphic in there to say something about a photo with the picture of the helicopter or something, Margaret. Does that make sense? So
Yes.
You don't drag a photo from someone else's stuff, right?
Yes.
And then how do you dismiss it? Do you have to go to FileMaker to dismiss it, Christian Schmidt?
Well, depends. If you would create a drag area on the window, you would call drag drop release.
You can share again. I'm off now. Go back and if you want to share.
This is our setup drop function. So this would set up a drop area on a window. And based on the control here. So we have here a thing, a rectangle, just a normal rectangle, which got a name. And then we tell the plugin to make this a drop area. So you don't need to know the coordinates. The plugin will just ask FileMaker, where's the thing called drop? And then we set it up as a trigger script.
I have a question. So instead of using it as a floating window, a separate window, like your Monkey, you could have a little spot on the layout, right?
Yeah.
And so let me back up. How memory intensive, if we put this on the layout and 95% of the time they don't use it, but it's there.
Yeah.
How much of a performance penalty are we going to suffer from it being up there at the top of this, right? Like, you see what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, well, but it's maybe 1 kilobyte of memory. Maybe if you put a nice picture. Is it constantly
talking the plugin, or it'll only?
No. It does nothing until you drop something.
Yeah, so it's pretty fuel efficient. Okay.
Yeah, I wouldn't expect you see anything in Activity Monitor about memory going up or CPU usage.
You understand my question, right? Because it's anytime that you have automatic awesomeness on your layout, like you have automatic awesomeness here, and if it's going, is it constantly causing your processor loads to, you have your little graph that's instead of it processor looking like this. It's going like
It's
that.
just sitting there waiting for something to drop.
Okay.
You may do some scripting, some clever scripting, like when you go on this tab, you set it up, and when you leave the tab, you tear it down.
Okay, back up. So if you close, okay, back up. If you close the window, like on window X, well, there's no on window exit, but on just pretend like we're going to exit the window, we're going to leave that layout. On exiting the layout, would we run a command to clear it out of memory and drop it?
Yeah. Whenever
Oh.
you leave, because this is a control placed by the plugin on top of FileMaker's layouts. So if FileMaker switches the layout, there are two things that can happen. FileMaker may just throw away the plugin control, or FileMaker may just switch to the new layout and you still have the plugin control.
Okay, so you could have like that's
FileMaker doesn't know
that's a
about it.
landmine waiting for you, Margaret. If you step on it, right? So it's on this layout. We pop another layout, right? So say you have another layout over here, and you've got this reserved spot, top left corner, say 300 by 150 or something. You have this other window over here, and you have it there, and you click on it. It could fire this, so you have to.
So you have to carefully think about when you set up it, when to release it, and when to rebuild it.
So for that reason, I'd be inclined to actually press a button and have them pop a little target, and then that target would be reserved.
The other thing is you can just attach it to the whole window. So whenever they go to the layout, you would tell the plugin make the whole window the top area, and when they leave the layout, you just remove that. So for a lot of clients, the whole window is the best solution.
So is it Windows? So back up. If you have FileMaker, so you have a FileMaker window here, you have a FileMaker window here. You have technically, is this considered a FileMaker window? Or is that an operating system thing? What is this?
No, this is a FileMaker database window, and this is a database window.
And what is this over here?
Well, this is a plugin overlay.
Okay, so
FileMaker doesn't know about the overlay.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
So I can run the script here to attach to the front window. So in this case, it's
Is it attached? Is it attached to just a specific window name, or is it attached to this the frontmost FileMaker window?
This is here passing 0. It's just to attach to the front window.
Okay.
But you can pass a name. Let's just try it. Okay. Let me free here and this is the MQTT window. So let me write here MQTT. Let's see if that works. Hey, that's my kind of MQTT.
Okay.
Let's see. Now I on this. So, and now let me just take a few files and drop them on this window, and they appear here.
Oh, okay. So you can name it so it's targeted to the now. If you forcibly close M2TQTT, it's still in RAM memory. We didn't release it, right?
Yeah, the drag drop thing is still there for the plugin, but it will not do anything anymore because the window's gone.
Window's gone, but it's occupying RAM in that.
Yeah, a few hundred bytes.
I understand, but if you kept looping and looping and looping and looping and looping and looping and you never closed it, then pop, it explodes. Okay. Does the drop work on WebDirect?
Well, no. On WebDirect, the plugin has no way to talk to the browser. So we can't send JavaScript to the browser, and so we can't do anything.
Yeah, that's kind of the problem with the web. I mean, Nick just spent like 3 or 4 weeks doing WebDirect stuff, and it's pretty great. But at the end of the day, plugins they kind of run on it, but they don't do anything with the interface, right?
Yeah. So what you can do on WebDirect is you can load a little HTML into our web viewer, and then make in this web viewer with HTML a little JavaScript to make it a drop target. Include some whatever ID you need to trigger back a data API call when someone drops something, and send it into your database from JavaScript. Let's go to the next one. So set virtual host name to folder name. That's something we discovered that the Windows web viewer can do. Some people using Windows are, I think, quite happy about it. So I just got here one of my test VMs.
Okay.
Let's imagine you have a script which loads URL, or maybe your HTML needs something else like JavaScript or CSS images, and it needs it from a specific domain. So you know your FileMaker solution will load something like jQuery from a website. But you don't have that website if you're offline. So you would like to redirect a domain to a folder on your disk.
Ooh.
That's what we're doing here. So we have here a test folder on the desktop. And there's a picture inside. And here I tell the plugin that I would like to map test.com to this folder on disk.
Wow.
And now I run this, and it loads a picture from the folder right into the web viewer.
I could see a ton of applications for this stuff too.
On the thing is a little bit different between Mac and Windows, because on Mac you can just make a folder in your temp folder and then load files from the temp folder. But on Windows we have the trouble that this doesn't really work as well. So redirecting something to a folder is a nice thing. I haven't seen that for Mac yet. Not sure if that's possible to do on a Mac. But this is for Windows, and if you need to load any HTML, JavaScript, your FileMaker solution may run offline, and you need to make sure it can find its files from various domains. This is a nice solution.
Yeah, this is great. All right. Well, we got about 5 minutes left. What else you got?
Okay. Oh, what else do we have? We have new options for DynaPDF to flatten annotations. We have new things for finding text on a PDF page.
Real quick for everyone, so everyone knows, DynaPDF is an extra library that you can purchase on top of the base purchase of MonkeyBread, and it gives you a third-party library of PDF capabilities. It's super robust, super robust.
Yeah.
So
a few other things. We have here our calculation dialog. You may know that. And here we got our tools like formatting, syntax check, execution of the current thing. And now you can also press the Shift key to just check a selection, to just format a selection, or to just run a selection.
That's cool.
Okay,
So
I
if
don't
you need
understand. You hold the Shift key to do what?
You can highlight and only check a certain chunk. So if you're like, man, I think most of this works. If I highlight this chunk and check it, this bit works, which means that you know that it doesn't work on the other side. That's cool.
That is okay. That would be one that Claire should steal. Sorry.
So check syntax. So usually you have to click OK to see if FileMaker will complain. But the check syntax is also quite nice. And when I run it for the whole thing, it will complain. But if I press the Shift key, it will not complain. Then you can use Shift click to run it.
They should put you in charge of quality of life improvements at Claris. That would be so great.
Yeah, well, but if they would implement it, I could go out of business, you know.
Oh yeah, if they implemented one feature,
not one, yeah. But,
no, I know. I mean, I'm just saying, it's like, well, then you only have 7,399 that you can sell,
yeah.
Right, which is great.
So if you have a big solution and you have global variables, you can use a new function to predefine the global variables to use for the auto completion in the plugin.
Okay, I sense this is awesome, but I'm having a hard time.
Yeah, so you know this list that shows up when you press the $? Yeah, you can pre-fill it with variable names you like to see always, like your globals.
Well, I would like to see all the ones in the file I would like to see all the ones in the file.
Yeah, the plugin doesn't know them. The
Right.
plugin only sees things. So if you go through the scripts and you use auto-completion, the plugin will learn a few of the globals,
Mhm.
but it doesn't happen automatically for all the globals. So then I have another nice function, and that is system info Mac memory host statistics. And this is a function for Mac and iOS to give you detailed information about the used memory on your computer. We have also, I think, similar functions for Windows Linux for asking about the memory usage. And especially you like to keep an eye on how much you're swapping out and how much is free memory. So some people like to write little tools in FileMaker to monitor the server, what's going on in the background. And then another thing is here formatting, the formatting bar. So you know that FileMaker can show a formatting bar,
Yep,
but there
formatting.
is no function in FileMaker to check the status, whether this is visible or not.
Oh, I think we ran into that issue with BV8 not too long ago.
So with the MBS plugin, we got this function to query if the formatting bar is there. Oh, wait. Hey, why did you? Yeah, one. No, it's visible. So this is the current window, and it's visible. And I can, hey, there it is. Hide it, and this one needs to update. Yeah. And then, so
Very,
the
very
plugin
nice.
has a way to know for Mac and Windows whether this bar is visible on the window. This may be useful in some scripts where you actually like to position something like this thing on the on the right spot. So what else did we get? Oh, we got record statistic functions. So people ask all the time, how big is a table? How big is a record? And I think we got a third function. What is the third one? Field. So you can ask the plugin for a certain table and a field name, how big is the data for it? So let me just try it. We have here database with a picture. So how about we ask? So file name is get file name, current one. Table name is track test. The primary key is oh, do we have a primary key?
I don't.
Let's say we take what is it here? Some text field. Text. And no, that didn't work. Which field is here? The path. And why don't we have a primary key? That's strange. Oh, let me see. That's just the other database. Python. Do we have a primary key here? Yeah, there is one.
There you go.
So, Python. So you're not required to have your own primary key. FileMaker still has a hidden field, but I'm not sure if I can just address it here. Full name. So I can ask the plugin, and the plugin will go over the details in the record, over all the fields, and then count how many dates, numbers, times I have, how big the containers is, how long all the text is, and what is our guess for the total size of this record without index.
Which is actually quite awesome.
So people ask it all the time. How big is a table? How big is just one field in all in the table, or how big is a record?
I guess because they're trying to figure out where the performance issues they're having are, or
Or why the database is so big.
why? Yeah,
So-
why is it this large? That's actually really awesome for that sort of
So,
problem.
and we got a function to check for the next macOS version. So if you have to write specific scripts for specific versions, you could make the if it's secure, then do that. If you want to learn more about this release, you can read the release notes with a lot of text. All the new things about the changes, the fixes, the improvements, what was updated or renamed. Yeah, and so you may enjoy all the functions.
This is awesome. People are saying that today was very cool.
Okay. If you have questions, don't hesitate to email us, support@monkeybreadsoftware.com. If you need a license, there's a buy button. If you are in English-speaking country, this will be in English.
So you should be able to figure
And
it out.
if you have more questions, please come next week for another live stream.
Yes.
Or if you happen to be in Australia, come to the conference there or to one of the other conferences. Always to show the conferences. So we have a lot of more conferences coming up.
Mhm.
And I'm going to be here at Reconnect. I'll be at the FileMaker conference. I will be in Rome and engage you this year.
Which will be awesome and keeps you incredibly busy. No, thank you very much, Christian. Seriously, this is fantastic as always. Okay, with that being said, I think I'll wrap us up. Bye, everybody. We will see you Monday.